Mukondo, former PA for Lusaka Province Secretary. And just to maybe go a little bit further in the story, what the president says. I am saying this in response to people who say I do not condemn violence nor speak against it openly. Please stop violence, and for police officers, deal with lawbreakers firmly. Let the law take its course, President Lungu said. So he said no one was above the law, and anyone who offended must prepare to suffer the consequences of their conduct. And earlier I did ask Mr. Mukondo, even the recent incidents where we've seen some party, even senior party members getting sanctioned, getting arrested and the like, was just a show of that the PF actually condemns violence or any misconduct, and Mr. Mukondo did actually respond. Now, let's come to, youths get excited, a lot, especially as we head towards elections. So many groups would be formed. Maybe they would say pressure groups or whatever names they would want to campaign for the party, but sometimes they use wrong means of campaign. Sometimes they use this vulgar language just to prove a point or to drive a point across. They use so much abusive language and the like. As we try to reciprocate what the president has said and maybe encourage peace building, how do you think the young people especially should conduct themselves in trying to sell the party, the PF, or even other political parties?
Just from the statement itself from the Republican president, he says the police themselves, they have been given direct instruction there. There are no sacred cows. And this is the same language which is coming from our Secretary General, Wano Davis there. Amwila, on 21st August, he said there are no sacred cows in the Patriot Front. And we are a mass movement of people. And that includes the same people we are talking about, the youths. And a lot of youths, others, they are on social media. And then these other ones who could be on the ground. We normally fare per ground. So our message, especially when it comes to national building, it's that one of taking individual responsibility. You ask yourself, after you beat your brother or your sister, who is going to pay you for that violence? After you beat your brother and your sister, or after you kill somebody, who is going to shoot you? You are doing that as an individual. And for us, I think the Secretary General has categorically said we are not going to condone anyone, any individual that is going to perpetuate violence. And that will be in his own individual capacity. And this is the reason why we have seen ourselves distancing ourselves from such activities. Because politics talks of development. Politics talks of the economy. And when it comes to debating issues of the economy, I think when you are talking about national building, we should quote even our former First Lady, Morini Mwanawasa. She has come out very nicely, and she has even come with the scriptures, making sure that this is a Christian nation. She has said when it comes to matters of debating about issues of the economy, we shouldn't at all use insults, because it's from there that violence is triggered. From a debate on social media, provoking the other one, you tell who is who. At the end of the day, you would want to physically see each other. So basically, democracy entails that we involve everyone on board, and then it's basically a trade of or an intercourse of ideas, good ideas and bad ideas. At the end of the day, those who have the best ideas, they will prevail. Good ideas, they are the ones which are debatable. Bad ideas are not debatable at all. So basically, it's important that we respect one another, and we also take into consideration that the Constitution allows each and every individual to have that right only to cast when we have that tripartite election. And I'm happy you have even mentioned the date when we are going to cast that vote. That will be in 12 August 2021. So basically, as we head towards that, it's an individual responsibility to make sure that you protect your neighbor and protect yourself, so that at the end of the day, even as we go into these COVID times, it's not only violence nowadays which can be exercised through violence, but you are also in this environment where you can also end up having this COVID, catching the virus itself. So basically, we need to be above board at all times. We need to be above board, and we need to be good Christians.
What does it entail when you say mature politics, practicing mature politics?
Mature politics, that is basically, we are talking about tolerance. You must be tolerant. Yeah. And then secondly, you must make sure that you accommodate other people's views. And then the most important thing is that you must be very accountable for whatever actions you take. Because at the end of the day, we are just talking about development. We are not talking about destroying the nation. We are not talking about fighting who is going to be who. And as the president said categorically in that statement, I do not want anyone to die for me. And I wouldn't want anyone to die for a politician.
Jesus already died for
Yes, Jesus died for it. So basically, that is the ultimate maturity. Jesus died for all of us. So you don't need to shed blood of your neighbor. You don't need to die for Edgar Lungu. You don't need to die for Ichilema, or for Sike, or for Kalaba, or for these other party president, like who are becoming like, is it Tembo, Sini Tembo, or my brother Chirufya Tayari. Why should you die for Chirufya Tayari? Why? Because Chirufya Tayari will be on social media enjoying, at the end of the day, we'll even be posting like, me, I'm doing well. I'm even enjoying life in the PF. But why should you die for such a person? At the end of the day, it's important that we exhibit that maturity of saying Jesus died for us.
We don't have to shed blood.
We don't need to shed blood.
Now, the police have been given, this directive by the president that police officers deal with lawbreakers firmly. Let the law take its course. But the police lately has been seen, not until when we saw that incident that happened at the magistrate court when the Deputy Inspector General of Police actually manhandled a few PF cadres or so. The police have been, accused of having a soft spot, especially for the ruling party. What challenge lies, ahead of them?
I think they need to beat that perception now, especially that the commander-in-chief has given them fresh instruction and directives. And not only has he given them fresh instruction and directives, but he has also equipped them. So today they won't be able to say, no, we didn't reach that place because there wasn't transport. The transport we have seen, they have been equipped, and equipped even more than what we expected. So we expect them to be above board, and they shouldn't entertain any lawbreaker, and they shouldn't even be political. They are issuing this statement, but when it comes to implementation, they are compromising. So it's important that it's timely, that it's true, the actions of the police, because we cannot fault the police. It's these are some of the things where you find that tomorrow the president will come and remove a head of maybe Bank of Zambia, because such a long time people are saying, no, this one has not been working well. So we want the police to be above board. Tomorrow it can even be Kanganja dropped, and then you hear people, the opposition, no, he has been dropped because he has been fair. But it's important, you are talking about they have been criticized, and I think the police, they have above board. And what we saw, what happened at the magistrate should be extended across the nation, so that we see that a fair playing, proper leveled ground is created by the police. And the Secretary General has spoken the same language. And I am happy, especially being in Lusaka, the epicenter. The provincial secretary himself, he has had the proper progressive meetings at which he himself has said we have never entertained elements who have been involved in individual altercations which end up resulting looking like they are fighting for the president or they are fighting for the party. Such we do not want. Ours is not that of William Tekerebanda. We don't have such an image. Ours is that one of a people's movement, and a people's movement where you find that women, they are among ourselves. And you know, when you're going for a campaign where women are involved and the children are involved, because in all these campaigns, if you look at them, they are massive campaigns that we have been involved in. We have allowed women to participate, to dance, and to feel free. Now, if you involve women and our children, why should violence be part of us? Because where we go, some of us, we will go with our wives, we go with our children. And that's what has been the identity of the Patriotic Front. We want a peaceful election. We want to also appeal to especially the opposition that they should also emulate the statement made by the head of state. So when it comes to the police, I think they have to be above board. The commander-in-chief has reminded them of their special role, and this is the reason why they have been on standby, and this is the reason why they are paid every month, is to make sure that this peace that we are enjoying continues.
So people who cross the line who have themselves to blame.
Who have themselves to blame.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, we've seen so many countries in Africa that are still at war. Politically, instigated violence, so to say. Countries such as Sudan, I think they are still fighting over political issues. Countries like, so many of them have all these political wrangles that are ongoing, and it has taken so many years to rebuild peace and whatnot. We have countries like Somalia that are still at war. As Zambia, approaches the 2021 general elections, what would be, what key, ideas, not really ideas, but what should people have on mind with regards to not gamble with the peace that we have now for political expediency?
My first appeal should be especially to the clergy, that they make sure that they protect this peace through issuing messages that is of building, of spiritual building, and then also physically, be it in our mindset, and then also that one which will be making sure that we are being given that vision and direction biblically. We should make sure that we come and protect the integrity of this nation spiritually and physically, and we make sure that we condemn. We have some, they look very small, and you have spoken very well, especially that these nations which you have mentioned, a lot of them, I would also want to extend the nations like Libya, and then all those nations which suffered the Arab Spring. Egypt is part of Africa. You will find that social media was the trigger of such movements. And if you look at the people that triggered the violence in these nations, in their nation, they are smiling, they are enjoying. But if you look at Libya, it's a disintegrated nation. Egypt is a disintegrated nation. If you look at Somalia, where they are, you find that it is foreign influence. And foreign influence, it doesn't matter. It comes in form of, maybe it can be spiritual. If you look at the Rwandani part of it, I'm Catholic, and if you look at the Rwandani, it was through the airwaves, the radio. A priest, he went talking about that. That's why at this moment, inciting the people, a Catholic priest for that matter, and you saw what happened. Lives were lost in millions. So basically, we have small characters like this Shawan, who can people get excited. By the time they come to realize that they have been supporting a demon, it will be too late. So as youths, let us be very cautious that we desist from promoting anybody who insults the sovereignty of this nation. Anybody from outside do talk about internal matters. let them talk about their own nation. Let them talk about spirituality from an international level, but not an extent whereby you see an individual insulting the president, and then you are running behind such a one. That is idiocracy. That's what the Greeks talked about. Idiocracy, being a barbarian. You only think within a small confinement, small boundary. So those are some of the examples that I would want to tell. That's what led to Libya being where it is. A nation which was where people are eating. They had bread and butter. Everything was provided. But today, they are divided, and the foreigners, those who had triggered that, they are long gone. Some of them, they were president, they are long gone. But look at the problem and the thing that has happened in Libya. It's the children and women who are suffering. If you go to Rwanda today, it's Kagame who has been struggling to fight against what they had planted. Just a foreigner went there and planted that seed of hatred. So you find that it's important. As we head for 2021, this is an internal matter. It's not an external matter. We don't need foreigners to decide for us. We need to decide it as Zambians. So basically, let us decide this issue as Zambia. Let us not involve anyone. I like, I said in Botswana for about 2 years, and I never saw anyone who was insulting their Republican president. And then not only that, they would have their own wrangles, fight among themselves, but it was so secretive, such that at times we never even knew that there was an election the following day. And they would differ among themselves, but you don't, as a foreigner, you wouldn't know that they have differed. But here in Zambia, we even drag foreigners to come in. No, this one, is a finance minister from South Africa. Is very powerful. It's very what? You come up with such illusions. You lose your integrity. You lose your independence. So basically, when it comes to violence, that's where it comes from. It can be external and then internally. But internally, it's because of our mindset. So we need to inculcate our youths out there that let not a foreigner influence us. Let us not be influenced. We know democracy is an expensive commodity, and there are other stakeholders who would want to come and sponsor it. But we shouldn't fall for their money. We shouldn't fall for somebody who has just come who say, no, we'll sponsor you if we do this. We hate Galungu. We want at all costs Galungu to go out. So go and kill this one. Go and burn that mosque. Go and burn that church. You are burning your own land. Those, they'll go back, they'll go and even get seated, and they'll be smiling. And they'll be saying, no, have you seen Zambia? It's like Libya. Have you seen Zambia? It's like Egypt now. So when it comes to violence, we just need to meet head on. We just condemn anyone who is instigating that violence. And also this calls for also Ekaindi Chilema, Sike, and others, Chilufya Tayari, and also the other political leaders. They should come out to issue such statement so that we prepare a proper leveled playing ground for our coming in elections.
So the preservation of the peace that we have in Zambia is the responsibility of each and every responsible Zambian. Yes,
each and every responsible Zambian. Last time I talked about the three kind of citizens that we have. That is the idiots. Those are the people who just say, me, I'm rich. Here where I am, as long as I have 3 square meals, I don't care about whatever is happening in politics. But you are forgetting the peace that you are enjoying. There is a police officer who is guarding that peace. There is a soldier who is on the border who is providing that peace. It's not coming in for granted. There are other people who are fighting hard to see to it that you are enjoying this peace. And then secondly, we have those who have tribes, who are tribal-minded. No, me, I'm PF, me, I'm UPND, me, I'm from Southern Province, me, I'm a Bemba, me, I'm Chokwe. I'm what? Those are tribal. They would want only to side with somebody or see development or see something positive as long as it is coming from his tribesmen. Those are what we don't want. These are tribalists. And we want now responsible citizens. These individuals who are mature, individuals who are like Jesus Christ, who take responsibility. Even when somebody has taken a sword to remove somebody's ear, he will be the first one to get even that ear back to the head so that he moves. So we don't need to be violent. because violence has always been condemned. It doesn't yield anything. It only yields distraction. And where there's a distraction, we will lose it. And people will be laughing at us. So let us preserve what we have here. It looks very simple like this. We are enjoying, but once people they are confused, the violence goes. Even your next neighbor, you don't know what you'll be thinking. That's the how infectious violence is. It's like COVID, in fact. It moves at a very faster speed like COVID.
Yeah. So while in Southern Province yesterday, the president said stop the violence. And I will briefly read through. It's in the Times of Zambia. President Edgar Lungu has condemned political violence ahead of the 2021 general elections and urged police officers to apply the law firmly regardless of the political party involved. And I'll repeat, regardless of the political party involved. President Lungu said there was no room for violence in the Patriotic Front and that there was no cause for anyone to die because of politics. Repeat that again. Actually, I'm repeating myself. I'll repeat that. I've lost the line. There was no cause for anyone to die because of politics. He said 2021 was near and the country would be voting and no one should be injured or die because Zambia was a peaceful country. And I think we agree with that.
Yes.
Since independence, we haven't seen degeneration of the rule of law to an extent that we become like other countries that we can point at in Africa, and we don't want to be on that path of destruction or self-destruction. We open the phone lines on 0962870921, 0953448551. Your contributions. My guest is Mr. Erasmus Chendela Mukondo, former Patriotic Front PF Lusaka Province Secretary, and he's also, playing a key role in terms of social media communication within the party, the PF. We take calls for your questions and contributions. Try to be brief so that we can have as many contributions as possible. Good morning. Tayo kabwenon kaya imwe.
How to send the motion by Gideon?
A phrase.
A phrase. Yeah. Okay.
Second one. 0962870921, 0953448551. Good morning. Bueno Mulibwanje.
Bueno Mulibwanje.
Yes, Wakalenga, try to speak up. mukusirizisa Sikomo 0962870921 0953448551. We're also live on Facebook, Millennium Radio 90.5 FM. You can drop your question or contribution. We should be reading out shortly. Good afternoon. Good morning. Angoma. Chichabe bueno. All right.
Tuli Lueme. Zikomo. Oh, okay. No, the Patriotic Front. Zikomo.
Thank you for coming through. Good morning. Chichibuino Kayamoyo. Yes, or Elvis?
Emkwai balishanywa Elvis. Emkwai. Awo na mfa wino na ininga mwaisa. Awo na tote. Emkwai.
Okay, we've lost him. Good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, or Jeff?
Thank you. Thank you.
take on. We take one more call. Good morning. Good morning to you. The morning is okay. Your name? Yes, Valvombe.
Morning, Comrade Diruvumbe, the Nicodemus, the genius of the Bible. Mkwae.
Mukupelekesha? Okay.
Mkwae.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Patotula. And quickly on Facebook, Shadrach Sakalika, very excited to see your cadres fighting for a bus station in Tendere. You didn't give them jobs, please. You have abandoned your poor policies. What is remaining is using poor people in violence, yet your children are safe. Very difficult to trust you politicians. Berias Malata, bus stations have become so fearful these days. You cannot move freely. I don't know how you will help us. I think this has come out a lot from even the callers who talked about issues of the cadres in bus stations. Fraser was calling on the police to do their work in bus stations are controlled by cadres. How are you intending to discipline these cadres? This is also a comment that has been made by the last caller, Novumbe. Are they PF cadres really? And maybe quickly your response to the calls that have come through.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with the Facebook post, that one of Tendere crash, and what happened. You see how violence can start. It starts on basically a small issue at a bus stop. I can't even call it a bus station or a market. Just a bus stop, like the way it happened in Mtendere. And I think it's timely that we involved our area councillors, because our area councillors, they know these spots where these cadres, in most cases, they are not even PF, the extortionists. We normally call them extortionists. They are not even PF, but they normally have blessings of maybe the party. But what is important is that let's get to our area councillors, complain to them. This is the reason why we vote for them. It's because we expect them to run these markets and bus station on behalf of the councils in line with the Market and Bus Station Act of 2007. So basically, the onus on that one, it's on the police themselves, and the police, they have been given fresh instructions by the head of state that such what happened in Mutendere shouldn't happen. And you find that even the same cadres or the people whom they perceive to be our cadres, those who are arrested, you will find that they're not even anywhere the party structures. So it's only that there has been a misuse or perception that whoever they see along the road is a cadre. But in most cases, it's because of the same thing which they have been talking about. Others, they take it in the dynamics of not having employment. But not having employment doesn't mean that you should now start extorting money from others. And this is the reason why the president at one time, I think this same time, he had talked to the SEC that corruption does not just involve the ministers, but corruption starts in such areas. So it's timely that the police, our councillors, together with the SEC, they made the example of such issues, because these, they border on extortionists. And then my brothers talked about the bus stations. Is it that all of them were in bus station, they are PF? The thing is, they are perceived to be like PF because at the end of the day, the Market and Bus Station Act stipulates that whoever is in a market or bus station, they must support the government of the day. They are supposed to be, in fact, neutral. By being neutral, it means they must be pro-government of the day. Not political inclined, but they must be in support of the government of the day. Because there is a big distinction between a ruling party the way we are. Myself, I'm a cadre, I'm coming from the PF. I'm not coming from the government. If you see a minister, if a minister was here, that is a sponsored cadre now, who has become a part of the civil service, is now an individual from the government. So there is a need to support our councillors, there is need to support our MPs, there is need to support also the president himself. And others, they have talked about, I think Nicholas Lumemba talked about the importance of the opposition. He talked about how important the strategic position which the opposition holds, that of strategically, if they don't champion, saying we are defending ourselves, defending yourself against who? Who is going to beat you if you are law abiding? Who is going to fight you? So we don't want this deceptive statement which comes from the UP end of saying that they are defending. Whom are they defending themselves against? Because when it comes to defending, it means, as my other brother talked about, who was cut, is it Elvis? We differ in opinion. This thing should be differed on opinion, on radio, on Facebook, and nowadays we are living in this digital world. We can conversate with each other. But the unfortunate part is that we have become so much divided such that we have become like churches. If you are Jehovah's Witness, you should never be seen to go into a Catholic church. Because the day you be seen into a Catholic church, it means excommunication. And then vice versa. If you are Pentecostal, you have to look at the other friend as a Satan. No, that church is condemned. I think this is some of the things that we need to remove. Because at the end of the day, if you look at our Lord Jesus Christ, we had the Samaritan woman, somebody who had a different faith. He was a Jew, but a Samaritan. But Jesus would accommodate them. He even said, I've never seen such faith like I've seen in this woman. And then he would accommodate a Roman soldier who would come to him. So basically, Christianity talks about an holistic point of view of accommodating everyone. So if we follow our Lord Jesus Christ, I think these dynamics which I've brought about should be the point of our way of moving as mature people in our politics. So basically, they have brought a lot of points. Jeff, we should be very strong. He said, he encouraged me and others, political leaders, the way our president has talked about, in very strong terms. He does not condone, and even from within the ranks of the PF. And that's the same message that our Secretary General, Honorable Davis Mwila, is talking about. No sacred cows. That was in his statement that he issued on 21st August. So basically, that is the message that we have picked as the Patriot Front. Others, what is important is that I like the other one of conceding defeat. That's why it started from. If you do not concede defeat, then you are allowing now that environment of hatred to continue. And hatred is very infectious. It starts from one person. Yeah. If one political leader does not accept defeat, this hatred, even his followers, they are going to have it. They always, whenever they are having in a club, they say, muna to win, muna lose, what, you are rigging, what. But at the end of the day, it's important that we are talking about the integrity of our country. If you look at even the United States of America, they are the problems. But here and there, she considered defeat, and they have continued using other avenues. And you have seen now the bouncing back of Biden. It's the way we do our politics. And then also, those who feel like they cannot accept a result of the Electoral Commission, it's better you set aside, you go and establish yourself as a businessman, or you continue doing something else. It means you have failed politics. Otherwise, you can be the source of this hatred. You can be the source of this violence. So basically, I'm very happy that everybody has condemned violence, and others have talked about it, starting from these little things like along the road. And basically, if you look at this problem of vandalism of the roads, we are speaking to a lot of people. Others are phoning from the Copper Belt. They don't have such on the Copper Belt. There is total discipline on the Copper Belt. You go to Northern Province, there is total discipline in Northern Province. They don't have this. It's only in this CBD, Lusaka. But you find that we are almost seeing it maybe getting into Mazabuka somewhere where somebody was almost getting a coup d'etat over a bus station. But I'm very thankful to the local authorities that they took charge of such a culprit. So basically, the president does not condone violence. The Secretary General is not entertaining. And if you want, you baptize you with an exculpation letter. Later on, you'll be removed from the party, and you'll be among those who are languishing, saying, no, the PF is very unpatriotic, they fire people, whatever. But it's because of the same indiscipline. And this is some of the results why indiscipline also starts from the individuals, those who feel like they are not happy with the internal politics. So politics of acceptance, which my brother here, Nicodemus, has talked about, conceding defeat, should start from the intra-party election themselves. Once we have peace in ourselves as individuals and then as parties, then we have peace flourishing to the rest of the nation.
All right. We take our last, possibly two last calls, 0962 870 921 0953 44551. Try to be brief. Good morning.
Oui, nobody shall me inform. Ishina.
Yes, Andrew. Copper Belt face up upper side. Okay.
Kulubuto na kwenda mwaipata makada za station na market.
Okay.
Empire.
Good morning, you're the last caller. I always 30 seconds to push it. Catch, talk them. All right, you have to conclude. Okay. Thank you so much for Elvis.
Thank you.
Okay. Make sure I'm talking talk time. Make sure I'm talk time. Okay. We have 2 minutes to go. Your concluding remarks as well as a brief response to these.
So basically, as a ruling party, the president has timely issued the directive as we are moving towards 2021. The PF does not condone violence. And using the word of our Secretary General, we issued a letter that was on 21st August. He used the word sacred cows, who won't entertain anyone. And anyone who be involved in violence, we are going to distance ourselves. And I'm happy especially that a lot of violence normally happens here in Lusaka. The secretary of the province, Wanu Akamba, had a fruitful meeting with the deputy SG, deputy IG, at which he expressed himself and he spoke on behalf of the party. And he said, with us, we don't like the way people have been perceiving us. Individuals, when somebody is fighting as an individual, we know that he could be a member of the Patriotic Front, but individual altercations should not be labeled as party altercations. Somebody maybe has defaulted the traffic rule. That is not Patriotic Front. Let that somebody, as the president has said it, police, UK such. Let us not compromise as we go towards 2021, especially that we have a nation to protect. When violence comes up, you won't be able, as a police, you won't be able to say, no, PF. You won't have that time again to mend, because all of us will be scampering in all directions. There will be distrust everywhere. So this is a timely warning. And to our party functionaries, let us continue moving in the same spirit, especially of that of our founding father and the president, Michael Sata, who at one time, I remember what he said, Elvis, very accurate. He said to Wat Manawasa, when he had the mantle, even the opportunity to fight him using violence, he said, I, for one, have my children at home, and I'm a peaceful person. I don't want to be involved anywhere, or even my name to come anywhere close to violence. So this is the same step that our current president is moving in. Our current Secretary General is moving in. And this is what he left behind. A party that will help to liberate the marketeers, the cadres, the vendors, not to suppress them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've been talking to Mr. Erasmus Chendela Mukondo, former PF Lusaka Province Secretary, and we've been discussing the President's sentiments that he will not tolerate violence. Thank you so much to all that called in and those that listened, and to the guest for coming through.
Thank you very much.
Until tomorrow same time, good morning.